Shuvu teens, Pastor Matt. Yeah, it's a spatula. This week our Torah portion is called Devarim. It means words. We enter a new book of the Torah called Sefer Devarim, the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy starts out with kind of an interesting thing. You ever have a situation where you feel like someone's coming down on you, where they're reminding you of your past mistakes? That's exactly what happens in the book of Devarim in the very beginning. In fact, it's the longest rebuke in all of the Torah. Moses brings up some specific things, reminders of mistakes, of past sins that the children of Israel did in the wilderness. You know, sometimes we feel like in life we're winning, and sometimes we feel like we're losing. Well, what I have learned, being that I have an old gray beard, what I have learned in life is that you either win or you learn. Don't look at life in terms of winning and losing, but rather winning and learning. And when we have one of those learning opportunities, when we have something that we might consider a mistake, a sin, something that we got wrong, don't run from that. Some good advice is, rather than run from it, we can learn from it. That's what we need to do. See, Moses mentions several places. Two of the places he mentions are Tophel and Lavan. Well, you know, one of the famous Bible commentators, one of the famous rabbis in Judaism says, I've looked everywhere and I can't find in the Bible these places called Tophel and Lavan. Well, it's because they're code words. Tophel means white, but it can also mean tasteless and foolish. And Lavan also means white. So the rabbis tell us that this is actually code words for the complaining that they did against the manna, the man, as it's called in Hebrew. Now, if you can imagine this, the manna, the bread from heaven that they picked up miraculously, that was provided by God, the rabbis tell us in the Talmud, it tasted like whatever you wanted it to taste like. Hey, you want an Uncrustable one day? Boom, there you got it. You want pizza the next day? Boom, you got it. How could you get bored of this stuff? But they complained about it. And so when he says Tophel and Lavan, he's reminding them of the sin of complaining about the manna. You know, another place he mentions is a place called Di Zahav. Well, you know, in Passover, when we sing Dayenu, so the word die, which means enough, when we say Di Zahav, it means enough gold. The place of enough gold. What in the world does that mean? That was to gently remind them of the sin of the golden calf. You know what? You had so much gold, you had enough gold to make a golden cow and to worship it. What a terrible thing. So sometimes in life we win, and sometimes in life we learn. And when the adults in our lives try to gently remind us of our mistakes in the past, it's not to make us feel bad. It's not to put a guilt trip on us. It's to gently remind us that, you know what, you made this mistake in the past. You don't have to make that same mistake in the future. Sometimes we as adults will tell you about mistakes or sins that we have committed in our past. Why do we do that? Is it to glorify the things that we've done wrong? No, it's to let you know you don't have to go through the things that we went through to learn those lessons. You can learn from our past mistakes. You don't have to make those same mistakes on your own. You're going to have enough learning opportunities for your own self and for your own family, but they don't have to be the same lessons that we learned. You don't have to learn the hard way sometimes. Sometimes you can learn from our past, from our mistakes. Here's a couple of action points for you. If someone has done you wrong in the past, what it says in the Brit Hadashah in 1 Corinthians chapter 13 is that love doesn't keep a record of wrongs. So if someone's done something wrong against you and they're starting to do that thing again, don't put a big guilt trip on them, but maybe gently remind them. Moses doesn't say, you know what, you guys complained about the manna. He doesn't say it directly. He mentions two words, Tophel and Lavan. He doesn't mention the golden calf. He mentions a place called Di Zahav. Sometimes a gentle reminder is all we need to snap us out of a bad moment. That's what we need to do. Let's gently remind those around us of their past mistakes so that they don't have to repeat those mistakes. But let's not make them feel guilty, especially of things that they've repented for. That's not right either. So remember, you either win or you learn. Don't think of it as a loss. As long as you are falling forward, you're making progress. Shabbat Shalom. Pastor Matt, out.